This thought kept coming back to me, kept coming back, and I've learned over time that when something keeps coming back like that, I should probably say it out loud. So here we are. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. And I know, that might sound like something people say, like a nice thing to tell someone when you don't know what else to say. But I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a very specific, grounded way. And I want to explain why. I want to actually walk you through the reasoning, because I think when you understand the pattern, it changes how you hold the season you're currently in. So stay with me today. This one's going to be quiet, but I think it's going to land somewhere important. Here's the thing about breakthroughs that I don't think gets said enough. They almost never announce themselves in advance. They don't send a warning. They don't arrive with a buildup that makes it obvious something is about to shift. Most of the time, the season right before a breakthrough looks almost identical to the season of being stuck. Same circumstances, same waiting, same quiet, same sense that nothing is moving. And that's exactly what makes the period before a breakthrough the hardest one to stay in, because there's no visible evidence that anything is about to change. You're just still there, still holding on, still showing up, still trying, and it looks the same as it did last month, last year, maybe longer. And that sameness is exhausting in a very specific way. It's not the exhaustion of doing too much. It's the exhaustion of not being able to see the point of continuing. And a lot of people quit in that season, not because they weren't capable, not because the breakthrough wasn't real and wasn't coming, but because they couldn't hold on through the part where nothing looked like it was changing. They let go just before the shift. And I think about that a lot. I think about how close some people were to something that would have changed everything, and they just couldn't hold on one more day, one more week, one more push. I don't want that to be you. Let me talk about what a breakthrough actually is, because I think we misunderstand it. We think of it as a single dramatic moment, a door that flies open, a sudden reversal, a before and after that's clean and obvious and easy to point to. And sometimes it is like that. Sometimes there is a specific moment where everything shifts and you can feel it in real time. But a lot of the time, a breakthrough is quieter than that. It's more like a slow thaw than a sudden crack. It's a series of small things, small shifts, small openings that individually don't look like much, but collectively are the thing changing. It's a conversation that leads to a connection, that leads to an opportunity. It's a decision you make today that creates a condition 6 months from now that makes the next thing possible. It's momentum building in ways that are invisible until you're already in the middle of it. And the reason that matters is this: your breakthrough might already be in motion. The things that lead to it might already be happening in the background in ways you can't quite see from where you're standing right now. And if you quit because the surface looks the same, you might be walking away from something that was already building underneath it. I want to talk about resistance for a second, because I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed this too, that the closer you get to something real, something meaningful, something that actually matters, the more resistance shows up. The more the doubt gets loud, the more tired you feel, the more reasons appear to slow down, step back, reconsider. And I think that resistance is worth paying attention to, not as a stop sign, but as information. Because resistance tends to concentrate around the things that are actually significant. You don't get that kind of pushback on the things that don't matter. The resistance shows up when you're close to something that would actually change things. And instead of reading it as evidence that you should stop, I want you to consider reading it as evidence that you're on the right track, that you're close enough to something real that the opposition has noticed. That doesn't make the resistance easier to push through, but it does change what it means, and meaning changes everything about how you hold something. I also want to speak to the people who have been through a lot to get to where they are right now. Because some of you are not just waiting, you're waiting after already having lost things, already having tried things that didn't work, already having paid a price for being on this road that most of the people around you never had to pay. And there's a specific kind of weariness that comes with that. A kind of how much more is this going to cost me feeling that is completely understandable and completely human. And I want to say this to you directly. What you've already been through is not wasted, not a single piece of it. The losses, the failed attempts, the seasons that cost you something real, all of it is part of the foundation. Not the foundation of your failure, the foundation of what's coming. Because the thing that gets built on the other side of all of that has a depth and a stability to it that it couldn't have had without the journey it took to get there. Easy paths produce fragile things. Hard paths, the ones that cost you something, produce things that last. Let me end with this, because I think it's the most important thing I can say today. Keep going. Not because I can promise you exactly what's coming or exactly when, but because you've come too far to stop now. Because the version of you that exists today, the one that has been through what you've been through, that has held on through the seasons that tried to break you, that is still here, still trying, still believing even when belief feels thin, that version of you is closer to the thing you've been working toward than any earlier version of you has ever been. And breakthroughs don't go to the people who were the most talented or the most prepared or the ones who had the smoothest path. They go to the people who stayed, who showed up one more time when they had every reason not to, who chose to believe quietly, stubbornly, in something they couldn't yet see.